Since my stroke 16 years ago, I suffer from mood swings. Right out of the blue, I can go from being a happy, positive person and then be sent down in a downward spiral into a very dark place. They are triggered by things, but I've learned to be careful and to make sure that I have good and life-giving things in my life, like worship, which focuses on the grandeur and the majesty of our Heavenly Father and His purposes for the world and for people, and really true Christian friendship. That's when I find an equilibrium. Jesus is the hope of the nations. He is truth in each circumstance, as we sing. Now, one of the favourite gospel stories of the early church was Jesus in the boat, calming the storm. He'd had a busy day. Jesus had said to his friends, let's go over to the other side of the lake. He had something to do there. He was on a mission, but he was tired. He had spent the day, perhaps many days, healing and teaching and caring, surrounded by stories of pain, injustice, helplessness. And he was weary. He was fast, deeply asleep, unaware of the storm that was about to blow up. But then the storm came so suddenly. The wind and the waves were so violent that the wee boat was swamped. And Jesus' friends were so full of fear, and they woke him up. But their fear turned to wonder as they watched him stand in that boat and rebuke the wind and the waves, saying, "Peace, be still." And there was a great calm. Dietrich Bonhoeffer preached this message in 1933 as he saw the storm about to break over Europe when Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany in 1933. Like early Christians, he knew his generation was heading into a time of untold suffering. The story tells us that our Heavenly Father is sovereign, in control, no matter what storms come our way. He knows what He's about. But He also knows that our faith can be very frail. We can feel that fears and doubts can swamp us. We know that He can eradicate storms in an instant. Church history is full of times where God has intervened through answer to prayer. But He knows that we need a strong and resilient faith, a faith that rests, like Jesus was resting in that boat. The story tells us that a Heavenly Father He is over all things, that He will call the wicked and the violent and the unjust and unbelieving to account. And He also knows that our faith can be made strong. He will bring us to the other side. He wants us to know that and to rest in that. And also that we have Christian friends who can minister to us and help us and encourage us when we're going through times of trouble. Perhaps that's why our Heavenly Father allows us to go through storms, to give us a strong and resilient faith, a faith that truly rests. I want to tell you about Peggy. I'd been called to her bedside. She was dying, an older lady who hadn't spoken for some time, and no one in the village could tell me much about her. All that I had managed to find out is that she had something to do with church. I read to her this story, and then with a barely audible whisper she said, "Jesus gives me His peace." And then the Lord took her home. At her funeral, everyone was astonished at the people who came from far and wide to give thanks for Peggy's life. She'd been one of the Lord's warriors, a deaconess who trained in St Combs Free Church College in Edinburgh, and who had undergone great trials and did great things for the Lord. They came to honour her life. But a testimony of her life to me was, "Jesus gives me peace in the storm." Perhaps you're going through a storm just now. Then maybe pray this prayer with me. It's a 16th century prayer by St John of the Cross. I find it very helpful when I go through mood swings. "Oh, blessed Jesus, give me stillness of soul in you. Let your mighty calmness rule in me. As you ruled over the wind and the waves of the storm, rule over my heart, my mind and my soul. King of gentleness, King of peace."